all making sacrifices for a goal. That's an investment in your future. What are your thoughts about that, sacrifice versus investment? Have you thought
Honestly,
about
that just the way you described it right now was like perfectly, and it made me.
For those that don't know, many of you met Jake before. Jake Shields is
doing?
a 5-time world champion. And how many people you think you choked over the years?
Thousands,
more than
multiple
10,000?
thousands. Yeah,
More than
probably-
10,000?
Probably so. Yeah, choked quite a few,
Choked more than 10,000
and the same people quite a few times.
Yeah. The first time Jake choked me, I didn't tap quick enough, and he had me in the front guillotine choke. And then he wasn't trying to hurt me, he wasn't trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
But he's just putting it on and expecting me to tap. And
It was confusing of not knowing the etiquette to tap right away, so he wasn't tapping, so I cranked it a little harder. I was like, oh, I guess he's tougher than I thought. And then all of a sudden I let go, and he's like,
my throat hurt every day for the first 15 days. And then it only hurt sometimes for the next 15 days.
I was thinking, damn, this guy is tough.
Well, that'd be a good story if I just went with that story. But the truth is, my neck hurt every day for 15 days, and then just sometimes for the second 15 days. For those that don't know, this is Belal Muhammad. Belal is from Chicago. I grew up here. I had a wrestling background earlier. He was telling me a bit about that earlier. And Belal right now is ranked number 5 at UFC in the 170-pound division. And I was at your fight in December. Last month I was at your fight with Stephen Thomas, I believe. I'm terrible with names, so I don't mean disrespectfully if I butcher somebody's name. But is Thomas or Thompson?
Thompson.
Stephen Thompson, Wonder Boy. And he was a hell of a kickboxer and, a hell of a fighter himself. And, you controlled, I don't want to be disrespectful to him in any ways, a very talented guy, but when you put on a hell of a performance and really controlled that well, and, you just learned those skills overnight, or what was that journey like for you?
It was a long, grueling journey. Like you said, Jake said, you don't gain your black belt overnight. And for me, I don't have a black belt in anything, but I'm one of those guys that works hard in everything. And I think that I'm pretty good everywhere, but it's all about just like grinding in every single one of the aspects of martial arts. There's kickboxing, boxing, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu. And I feel like I'm a guy that does all of it good together. And like if there's a black belt for putting it all together, I think I'm one of those guys, and I have a black belt in that.
Yeah, respect. What's some of that journey like for you? When you're coming up, and you told me a couple things off camera, but maybe you share with my people here. The people on this call, they mostly join for a real estate call, but the type of person they are is, this is our last week of a 10-week course. This is our last. We're kind of wrapping up together, and I think tidbits that you would share that'd be very valuable to them are just some of your, maybe an obstacle or two that you had to overcome on your success journey. And, there's times where I know I feel frustrated. I'm sure they feel frustrated. Everybody wants to give up on something occasionally.
Yeah.
You got to refocus yourself, be like, no, I got to go do this shit, So things of that nature that might come to mind to be very useful to the audience here.
Yeah, well, I mean, the martial arts journey in general, that's one of those where it's so frustrating because there's so many ups and so many downs, and it's a long, grueling journey. And I tell people that all the time. I say, oh, how do I get to the UFC? And I tell them it's the hardest road. Unless you're going to be fully dedicated to it, unless you're willing to lose everything to get there, don't even start. Don't even try about it, because it's not just going to come. You're not going to win one fight and get to the UFC. I've had years where I was getting paid $250 to fight in a barn, and I'm lying to my parents and telling them, like, oh yeah, I just made $10,000, and people are looking at me like, oh dang, you're making a lot of money, not knowing that I'm not making anything. But it was just like the belief in myself, and I saw the end goal, and I saw myself, and I thought that I could make it there. And I was like, I would train with you guys that were in the UFC, and I'll be doing well with them, and I'll be like, if this guy can make it, why can't I make it? What's the difference between us two? And I was one of those guys born 6'6" with amazing reach or amazing athletic ability, but I did have the willingness to put in the work. I knew that if I were to just grind it, and I know if I put more hours in than all these other guys and put the extra work in, the extra time in, the studying, that I could catch up to these guys. I could catch up to their athletic ability. They may have the one-punch power or the speed of a tiger, but like if I just keep chugging along, keep grinding, I'll eventually get there. And I think that the biggest thing was just having the self-belief in my goal. And I set a goal, and I said that whatever, if I fail, at least I attempted it, at least I tried it, at least I pushed for it. What's the worst that's going to happen? All right, I lose, then I go back to, I have something to fall back on. I know I could go back to school. I went to college at University of Illinois. I was one of those, I was a bookworm. I didn't have born with karate. I didn't have parents that were athletes that put me in karate or put me in wrestling. My parents didn't do no sports. My mom's an immigrant from Palestine. My dad owns his own business. He owned a liquor store for 10 years, and he owned a cell phone store for 15 years. So that was always my fallback plan. Like, all right, I'll go to school. I want to be a lawyer. And if that doesn't work out, I could always own my own business and be with my dad. I could always join his store. He'll pass it on to me and my brothers. And that was always, having that fallback plan made me think that, all right, you know what, let's just push for it. And then I have family that are all in the south side of Chicago, have clothing stores in the east side of Chicago, and I would work in those stores. And, you know, being in these neighborhoods that you're in Chicago, that you go through a lot of things. So one time I was working in a my cousin's clothing store, and we got stuck up by gunpoint by 3 kids. And I walked into the store, and I was like, this kid has a gun to my chest, and I'm like, he's like, put your hands up. And I was like, all right, cool. Take whatever you want. They left with probably like 3 jackets and a couple belts. And it was literally snowing outside. And the cops end up following their footsteps. They literally followed their footsteps. They were like a couple blocks away, I guess, inside their basement. And he said that there were 12, 14, and 16 years old. And I was sitting there like, which one of those kids had a gun to my chest? And I was like, I could have got killed by a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 16-year-old for a couple jackets. And I was like, bro, I'm done working out here in this. I'm like, let's push it. Let's just grind, whatever. Let's just stay in the gym, keep the focus. Like, what am I making? $15 an hour. It's not worth it for me for what could end up happening, dying for something like that. And, you know, it was worth it. It was, in the long run, it was worth it just because I put my head down. When I think back to those little stories and I think back to this happened because of this happened because of that, this happened because of that, like, it all makes sense now. Because it's like, I quit working in that store. I quit going in those bad neighborhoods. And I just stayed in the gym the whole time, stayed training the whole time, and now I'm here.
Yeah. Something I was talking about with Jake earlier is this, people that trying to get rich quick or get results overnight, man. And like,
doesn't work.
Imagine your fucking 12-year-old kid sticking people up. Like, the fucking kid could die himself or any kind of crazy shit could happen,
it's
you know?
sad.
But I'm wondering, you could share a couple things we talked about earlier about that corrupt mentality that you're trying to get something that you didn't earn yet, or you're trying to get something you didn't deserve. Everybody that I've seen that tried to get rich quick, they tend to go broke quick.
100%. No one really, no one in my profession does it, and in most professions. Every now there'll be a few people who get lucky on weird random things, but for the most part, you have to be absolutely obsessed. It has to be a complete obsession. Like, listen to his story. He was obsessed. Me, I was obsessed. Were you obsessed with business? To take over your whole life, everything, every thought. You have to be absolutely obsessed towards almost the point of a madman. And self-belief. I believed I was going to make it. No one else believed I was going to make it. My friends, maybe the girlfriends at the time. But you know what? I broke up with them and found girls that did believe in me. And I found friends that did believe in me. I made new friends that were like, oh, you can be a world champion, And then I believed myself before anyone else did. And then even parents at first were like, don't do this. But then they saw my belief, and eventually, they started following and believing. And then sure enough, became a world champion.
Yeah, but there's times in my business journey, I'm not chubby because I'm lazy. I'm chubby because I sacrificed every other area of my life to be successful at the area that I was most obsessed about. That I couldn't give a shit, but I skipped funerals. I didn't go to weddings, girlfriend's birthday, not going to the girlfriend's birthday, and not going to the family bullshit get together. I made it a habit to make fun of holidays and work extra hard on holidays.
Countless weddings, holidays. I'm sure you have too, probably, right?
Yeah, I was just literally.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, I skipped it. My family went to Cleveland for Thanksgiving. I skipped it, and they were all like, "Oh, come on, you're still 3 weeks out. You don't cut a lot of weight. Just come on." I was like, "I'm not gonna lose my routine. I got to train. I got to push." So, "Oh, you've been training so hard," and then it's crazy because they went to Cleveland for Thanksgiving. I have so much family out there, and then the next day out there, my aunt passed away. She was at Thanksgiving dinner with them. They were like, had a good time. She went home, went to sleep, and she just didn't wake up. There was like nothing crazy that happened. I was like, did I miss that did I miss my last chance of seeing her? But it just made me push even harder because I'm like, I skipped that Thanksgiving meal. I skipped that last time with her, but now it just makes I got to push harder for it. Like, there has to be a reason for it.
You still know it was the right decision.
Yeah, I'm like, there was a reason for it. It all happened for a reason. Now, like, this win, I'm gonna dedicate to you. I'm gonna push for you, and I'm gonna work. I'm gonna bleed extra hard in practice because I missed that time with you. But like, there's a reason for everything.
I talk about this with my clients a lot. That what normal people, what like middle class people. I got 2 thoughts about the middle class. You don't know me well yet, so if you came from a piece of shit country somewhere where you're really struggling, and you made it to America, and you made it to the middle class, that's a success story. That's great, you know? I got respect for that. A person who was born here with every fucking opportunity and didn't do shit with it, and just say, you know, I'm just gonna be a fucking mediocre nobody. I don't have much respect for that at all. It's not somebody I'm gonna spend any time with, you know? So, something I talked about with clients a lot is like, what like a middle class person calls like, you know, a sacrifice. It's like, oh, I'm making sacrifices for a goal. That's a fucking investment. That's an investment in your future. You made an investment that I'll tolerate the social pressure from my family to continue my training and keep my rhythm and be, you know, an optimal peak performer that you have to be for your career. You made an investment in your future success that your family is also going to be a beneficiary of. What are your thoughts about that? Of like, you know, sacrifice versus investment? Have you thought
Honestly,
about
that just the way you described it right now was like perfectly, and it made me. Now I can give them that reason for it, and it's like I'm not skipping this for that. I'm not avoiding a wedding because of this. Like you said, it's an investment. It's like when I do well, my family's gonna do well. My parents are gonna gain from it. Everybody's gonna gain from it, from my name, and our family name's gonna gain from it, from me being victorious. So it's like you should be supporting me and not making it stressful, not putting that extra stress. Because fighting, there's gonna be so much stress no matter what. You're overthinking it. You're thinking about your opponent the whole time. But then when you're getting that extra stress from the house, the family, it's like they're mad at you. You're cutting weight. You know, you get angry the whole time, and people can't.
Very angry people.
Yeah, they always get mad. My mom's always like, "Why are you always mad for it?" And I'm like, how long have you been with me when I have fights already? You already know what it's gonna be. Don't start this right now. I ain't got time to add that extra stress to my life."
It's the dieting and the pressure of the fight and not eating. Fighters before fights are just they're no fun to be around with. Like I'm sure I've done it to my corner as a best friend. You know, you're cussing them out for no reason. When I'm cornering guys, it's not surprising they might start cussing me out, and we'll laugh about it later because we just understand the pressure you're going under, the weight cutting. It's just if you haven't been there, you don't understand it. But it's not uncommon for a fighter to melt down on a weight cut, cuss out their corner for no reason. But luckily we're all friends and we all get it and have been there.
I've tried intermittent fasting, but the thing is, after about 4 hours, I start thinking of cannibalism. I start thinking about eating a neighbor or a random passerby on the street. So for their safety,
Right.
I've never gone too far past that. But man, another thing you and I talked about a lot, Jake, is that being willing to say no. Belal shared a story about not going to Thanksgiving recently. What are some of the things that you said no to be able to say yes to your biggest goals and be the champion that you are?
Yeah, countless things. Like you said, weddings, friends' birthdays. I look at it, you have to be selfish in that sport. Selfish and put yourself first and your career first. That doesn't mean you don't help other people out that are helping you, and I'm still extremely generous. But when it came to my career, it was always my career first. If a girl couldn't understand that, then I'd move on from her. If friends didn't understand that, I'd move on from that friendship because it was my goal was to be successful as a fighter, and that had to come first. You have to be successful. And with your training partners, you look at the guys that are helping you. When they need help, you help them because they're helping you. The guys that don't help you when you needed help and then they call you and ask for help, you don't help them. Like, why would you help guys that didn't help you when you needed them? You learn the people that are, I don't know if it's selfish, but you learn who's going to return the favors you pay, and you learn who to not be selfish with. So people only take from you. You cut them out and just surround yourself by people that are going to get you. Don't surround yourself by losers, I guess is the way to put it. Just surround yourself. They want to bring you down to your level. They're not trying to raise up to your level. They're usually trying to bring you down. So make sure you're around people with high goals too. When fighting, I was lucky to be fortunate to be surrounded by Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz, Gil Melendez. Other guys had the same goals as me.
There's something we've talked about a lot. For years, I've had the same conversation with clients. The values and goals, the importance of that. Those don't sound like exciting things to people. Like they want to hear whatever the new trendy bullshit is. And I don't care about the new trendy bullshit. I think that if you're going to have meaningful relationships with people, you have to surround yourself with people that have similar values that you would do. That they have a high level of integrity or a sense of reciprocity of like, oh, my friend helped me and it's important for me to help them too and show that respect
100%.
and reciprocity, If you have those similar values, that's a great foundation. That means you're not going to have integrity issues with that person. But then on top of that, you have to have goals in common. That if you have similar values plus similar goals, that we're here. We agree that we're not going to betray each other. We're not going to be short-sighted. We may curse each other out because you haven't eaten right recently.
Yeah,
but
right.
You'd be forgiving about that. So understand and be cool about it. It's not an integrity violation in that context.
It's a meltdown from cutting weight
Sure.
pressure, which fighters have all gone through that.
And then ultimately, you have to have differentiated skill sets. If you have those two things, I think in my head, the ideal relationship, like the ideal friendship, is if we have similar values, that we're not gonna betray each other. We're gonna behave with high integrity. And we have similar goals, and we have an outcome that we both deeply, we want with all our heart. And then differentiated skill sets that you'd be better at some things, and I'd be better at others, and you'd be better at some things, and we'd be better at others. Those people, you're going to be great friends. You're going to be able to help each other, and there'll be things that's easy for you to do that's hard for me. There's things that are easy for me to do that'd be hard for you, vice versa. If you have a loyalty and a good work ethic to achieve those goals, you're going to be great friends. It's a recipe for friendships. I don't have any accidental friends. You talked about getting rid of friends and that you had to say, let some people go from your life. And people think that's bad. When I say that, they think that that's like disloyal or that's mean or something. No, I don't have any accidental friends. I'm a fantastic friend, and I don't spend time with anybody who's not going to treat me fantastically as well.
Yeah, I'm extremely loyal, but loyalty is a two-way street. If someone's trying to suck you down to their misery, that's not loyalty. That's them just trying to bring you down, and you can't have people bring you down. You got to be loyal to people that are loyal and have high goals and are trying to bring you up in life, not loyal to people that are just trying to bring you down.
Yeah, some of my misfit friends from childhood, they're going to prison for their fourth time for the most absurd, stupid things. It's like, the bar closed and you're pissing on a cop car's tire in front of the bar with dope in your pocket. Then you wonder, and you get a parole violation. And then, then those people who talk shit to me say, well, yeah, man, but if my life was like yours, it was like, what? Like, I encouraged you to do that? Did I encourage you to do that? I would never do that, I had to let go of some of those people. And I was a very loyal friend for a long. I sent them money when nobody else would. I sent people money that already owed me money and fucked me over numerous times. And I still try to look out for them,
It's so rare they're appreciative is what I've learned when you're giving people money. It's so, if you cut them off, they're never like, oh, thank you for what you give me. It's always like, really? You're not going to give me more?
Yeah.
But you have this, but you have this. And it's like, that's when you use it. I get all the calls when it's fight week. I don't get no calls from people that I've known 10 years ago, but when it's my fight week, they'll always FaceTime me, call me.
Right,
I'll never hear. I'm like, you never called me, you never
too.
checked on me before. But now I have a fight coming up. It's like, hey, you're in the news now, so let me talk to you now. And I would ignore their calls. And well, you changed. You're changing on it. But like I said,
You don't relate to
like I don't have any accidental friends. If you're not on the same level, if you're not have the same energy as me, you don't have the same goals as me. Like I don't need to talk to you anymore. Like we don't have to be enemies, but I'm not the same person 10 years ago or 15 years ago when we were younger. But now it's like, oh, he's on ESPN now. What are you up to? Let me FaceTime you so like this person knows that I know you.
Exactly.
And I'm
It's
like,
nonstop like calls during before your fight, dudes trying
At
to
the worst
FaceTime
time.
you. You're just like,
Literally.
I'm fighting, guys are trying to show you off to your friends. It's really weird. It's
Yeah.
like, come on, man, hit me up at a different time.
That's the last time that I contacted him. I got a lot of friends that are fighters now.
Yeah,
And
fight
the last time I contact anybody is the couple of weeks before they got an event, or a month before they got an event. But if they want to reach out to me, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I never reach out to them, or
And
after they're already walking to they're doing the fucking walk to the cage. Then I could send them a text that they could see
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Like,
And if you do reach out, more like a simple good luck instead of, hey, can I get something from you? Because people always ask for things for your fights, and that's just not what we want to do.
hey, what time are you gonna be on? And it's like,
Can you get me some free tickets? Can you, it's just like, I'm trying to concentrate on fighting.
yeah, you got the most important things of your life happening, and somebody wants to take a little crumb off.
Yeah, simple good luck is fine, but when people start asking you to do favors for a fight, that's what you run into, or to talk to their friends on FaceTime and all that fun stuff.
Those things cost people a lot of missed opportunities over time. That if you're lucky enough to have high quality people in your life, I always want to invest in those relationships, and I'd like to do something nurturing for them when they're having a tough time, or contribute in a way that makes sense. But I think a lot of people are short sighted that they, which is what you guys said is oh hey, let me fucking show some fucking my drinking buddy that I know this guy that's on TV or something. I've been in maybe 60 media things, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, Bloomberg, blah blah blah, and like for business stuff, and Playboy. I was in Playboy and I know when you see me, I look like a model. I'm sure the first thought you have is like, this guy looks like he'd be in Playboy and Maxim. When fucking people do weird shit, that like I get that point, that people do weird shit. And I'm just like, man, just be cool, like just be normal.
yeah, it's so weird.
Find a way to contribute, not trying to take something.
It's after a win. They're not like they're always right there after a win, but after a loss, nobody wants to talk to you. Nobody wants to say anything to you. They're telling everybody like, oh yeah, you saw him get knocked out. And there's like the people that there's supposedly people that you know when you're a child, but they're the ones talking to other people, bringing it up. Oh, you saw he got beat the other day. You saw that he lost. But then when it's my fight time again, oh, hey, what's up, bro? Let me talk to you. And I'm like, I heard you talk to this guy, so don't even mess with me right now. Like, I don't got time for negativity or your negative energy.
I think it'll be a lot of jealousy, maybe from like your hometown. You're doing so well, you'll get kids. They want to kind of like, if you get knocked out, maybe they're like secretly a little happy, so they want to kind of bring it up because maybe they're not doing good and they see you doing so good and they feel a little bit of like resentment.
Yeah, I literally had my uncle who played college baseball, but like he never made it anywhere. But then he's back he has his own store. And when I made it to the UFC, he was like, I lost my debut, and he's like, well, at least you made it, And I was like, huh? He's like, yeah. So even though you don't have to win any other fights, but at least you made it to this point, huh? Yeah. And I was looking at him like, you really don't believe in me, and I was like, it just made me push harder because I was like, the closest people to you, that they're thinking that you're gonna lose, like, or they're spiteful that you made it to a professional league and they didn't, and it's like I seen that and like I know what you think mentally and inside of you now.
You want to have a good laugh is like, for my business name, I branded myself as Derek Moneyberg, and my friends, people who are close to me, they're good people that, we still work together. They're good people, but they say like you can't do this, like you're not going to be you're making it like prohibitive that like you can't be on TV, you can't be in publications, you can't do this. Like who the hell is going to say the name Moneyberg, But my last name, my legal name is Bushkowski. Or Bushkowski, something like it's not a good marketing name, man.
Yeah,
no.
This is not the best marketing name. So I had to go, when you do that, like I know ahead of time, and I teach them this about entrepreneurship. Like when you create a brand name that the first thing is nobody knows you exist, so you just get ignored. So you just get ignored forever. And if you work your ass off really hard and you're starting to get some traction, then people will start to make fun of you, So you'll know that you're doing better when they start making fun of you and you start, because then they're at least aware that you exist, and they're just like, what the fuck is this Moneyberg thing? Like, this is the fucking stupidest thing I ever heard of,
But they're talking about you.
But at least they're talking about, so now you at least exist, when you're being laughed at. And then after you've pushed past that phase, and it's like an undeniable success, like that plaque right there, I'll show you later, that plaque is, I get $10 million in sales in my first 18, 19 months, that big silver thing there.
Yeah.
There's gold ones up there, $1 million. So, after you had tens of millions of dollars in sales and you're on TV and so on, so, then you get past you're not being made fun of anymore because it's clear that you're doing good, But then you get all the haters, So I'm sure you guys have your version of that ignored, then made fun of, and then hated on by. The number one thing a hater hates is themselves. Always remember that. The number one thing a hater hates is themselves. But maybe last thing we'll have a laugh about it. Like, did you guys have a similar stories in your career trajectory of ignored, made fun of, hated on? What's that like in your area?
Yeah, I know, 100%. Guys first thinking, oh yeah, that's nonsense, isn't gonna work. They talk down upon it, and then then you get successful, and then you do see the people that are truly happy for you. There's definitely friends that you see they're truly happy for you, but you see other ones that you can just tell they're not really that happy. They might act like it, but you hear maybe they're telling another friend they're hating, saying something negative, and it's just it's a weird thing to see, but I think someone saying I heard somewhere that says you'll never see a hater doing better than you.
I say that.
Yeah, it's always.
You ever seen a hater doing better than you?
Yeah, exactly. You don't. It's always people that aren't doing as good. For some reason, they'll throw a little jab behind your back and think you're not going to hear. And just kind of like, it's weird people who do that because I'm always I want everyone around me to be successful. I've always tried really hard to lift my friends up, my team. We all fought for world titles. There's been times where some people were more famous than others in the team, and I've seen some gyms they get. With the guys, you can tell the other guys are mad that someone's getting more attention. For me, I was always so happy when Nick was getting a ton of attention, and then Nate started getting a ton of attention. I was so happy that he was getting more fame than me. It didn't bother me at all because it's like he was doing so well, making so much money. But I've seen other gyms, and it's just you can tell it bothers the guys.
That's good for everybody's reputation. You're around other winners. It rises.
So happy my friends are all
well.
being so successful. I would have hated to have seen them fail and be obsessed as I was and put all that work in and not make it. That would have been hard for me to see. But seeing them be successful is so much easier. It's hard to see one of your friends try hard. And whenever I want to see someone try hard and not succeed, that's hard on me.
Yeah, especially if they're putting the work in it. Like you said, even now, because I'm a guy that likes to travel and go to different gyms and see different gyms. You'll always have those people over there like, oh, this guy's in the UFC. Let me try to hurt him, or let me try to go super hard to say that I tapped this guy out real quick. And I'm looking at it like, bro, I'm just here to roll. Like, you could learn from me, and we could learn from each other. You're going with a UFC fighter that's been to the top. So like, I would want to go with you and learn from you instead of try to get a wrist lock or arm lock and say that I tapped the UFC guy out.
That's because they're never going to be where you're at, so that's their moment to say they tapped you out because they'll never be at the stage. So they look at the training session, it's like a world title fight.
Yeah, it's always the worst.
Which makes it hard for guys like us to go random gyms because every guy is just like trying to attack us, and luckily good enough where I can deal with it. But sometimes you go, everyone's just. It can get annoying sometimes when guys are trying to every round's like a world title fight, and I'm just trying to go there and get a nice little workout in.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you spending time, Jake. Appreciate you spending time, Belal. I've never seen a hater doing better than me. Keep that in mind. Think about it when somebody talks shit to you. Have you ever, Travis, you ever seen a hater doing? Have you ever been hated on by somebody doing substantially better than you?
The day that you showed that, I realized that I was like, "What the fuck?"
Maybe it was you. I heard that
kidding
comment.
me?
Funny, bro. I've been hearing that
I
somewhere.
say that all the
That's
time.
funny. I remember hearing it somewhere. So maybe it was here. I remember hearing that comment. I'm like, that is so true.
The number one thing a hater hates is themselves. Last thought. Number one thing a hater hates is themselves. So I'll come join you guys at 6. You have fun. I'll catch up with you in a bit. Thank you very much for joining. Thanks for watching. Success is not for everybody, and it may not be for you. If you are or on your way to be a millionaire or multimillionaire, probably going to want to spend time with my clients. Probably going to want to have a personal relationship with me so we can accelerate that process, get you living up to your maximum potential, earning your maximum wage. You're going to want to click that follow button. You're going to want to click that bell and get notifications. Tune in every Friday. Tune in every Monday. You're going to love what you see. I look forward to having you as a client in the future.